and I said, we're never going to talk to them.
Derek Williams?
Yeah. Like, we're going to be their last resort.
Who is that?
Anyone on higher ground.
They should.
You know, and I'm like, we're outcast. Their own tribe.
What is his name?
Can't control us. But.
Rick, how are you? I'm doing good. It's good for you. See you wearing that, sitting there with your hat on.
I can.
We have like 4 cryptic sets of.
It's over.
Yeah, everybody must be quiet about it.
I started at 6 this morning. Yeah, it's been blowing. I look like a farmer.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
Ron, how are you?
Unbelievable.
How you doing?
Your name tag's right behind where you got it. And, well, you know what, don't do that. People know who you are.
I won't be able to attend, or I might be late. There's a ranch, one of our dairies is like inundated with water, so we're like all hands on deck right now in this area.
Okay, right.
So
I understand.
yeah. So
This group understands.
is there anything anyone wants to report about dairies or anything?
Did you catch something next? I don't know. Not now.
All right. Thank you, guys.
I don't think so.
We
Not
don't
on
do
agenda.
any of that.
I've got a lot to report.
We are gonna, that process.
Water everywhere.
Yeah.
But
That took them up.
trying to keep the feed dry.
So we have quorum.
Yeah, the cow.
Chair,
Yeah.
we have quorum.
We have a quorum.
Yeah.
What time of day is it, Scott?
Getting them back sometimes.
But we don't have.
Mr. Spears, singular.
He did say that he was coming, and I talked to him verbally earlier this week, and then, but I am not sure if he will.
And they got stuck in the mud. And they
Who's
have
leading the
to
Rocky Hill discussion?
pushing things. They pulled it out on the
You're
right
around
around.
water.
We'll have her do it, because I don't see Mike here.
I'm wondering if people are.
We're not talking about anything. Meeting adjourned, I have to go back to my desk and update minutes. Goodbye.
Hi, Denise. I'm Amin. I'm filling in for Mackenzie. She's
Nice to
been
meet
at the EOC. Yeah, so.
Yeah. I was happy. I wonder if they've been.
No, I don't be around.
Really done that with, yeah, they did the math.
Pick the perfect time.
Supervisor McCurry?
I do not like cookies.
Larry.
What I do?
If you could find Supervisor Townsend
Yeah, no, he's probably down south down there.
down south.
Yeah, well, it's flooding the Port of Florida.
He might be wearing waders somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very, very good chance. I just wondered.
And I'm gonna have to leave at 3:30. I got a meeting at 4 I have to be at, but I've been out since 6 and Lindsay wading knee deep in
Yeah.
flood water.
Well, I think this is going to be a quick one because he was well over 50% of the agenda.
Well, he was here for our poultry conversation.
Yeah.
Unless Denise has got something.
No, because the way we left it, well, I can address it when we get to that item.
Okay, all right. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call the March 15th meeting of the Tulare County Agriculture Advisory Committee meeting to order. And first off, let's make an introduction. We'll start with our substitute county counsel here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Amit Nagra. I'm substituting for Mackenzie Dunkel, who's been working diligently at the Emergency Operations Center. So it's nice to meet all of you and happy to be here during these crazy times.
Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Of course.
Doreen Alves, RMA staff. Denise England, RMA staff.
Derek Williams. Just a member.
Yeah, what's your representation on?
Oh, Allied Ag Support.
Scott Spear, Conservation and Natural Resources.
Tricia Stever Blattler, Tulare County Farm Bureau.
Tom Tucker, Ag Commission.
The Ag Commission.
The one and only.
Sarah McCarty, Board of Supervisors.
Bob Bittner, Building Industry.
Ron Perrigan, Rangeland. Justin Linecker, non-permanent road crossing, indirectly Gary.
And I'm Jim Sullins. I'm your chair representing General Agriculture. At this time, we'll accept public comments. We'll run to 3 to 5 minutes. They're not on the agenda. If you'd like to bring something up, we'll have staff comments. This would be a good place for staff comments also. Any public comments? Hearing none?
I do have one comment.
Okay.
It's not related to water, surprisingly, but, who could we talk to about stoplights? We got a
Specifically,
stoplight along Road 80 that feels like it's 10 minutes waiting for a stoplight just to get farm equipment across for all the dairies.
At what intersection?
What is that? Avenue 368 and Road 80. I mean, if you could just make it like Avenue 360, that would be perfect, because that one's great, but I think I've timed it, I've been over 5 minutes at the light.
I will tell our road staff.
Okay.
They will not open my email probably for 2 months, but.
Give us a place to send it.
I can send one too, if you tell me who to send it to. Later if you want.
It would just be, yeah, it would just be RMA, but I'll get it to them. They're just all out right now, closing and opening and closing roads.
Yep.
Watching people drive through their closed road signs.
Oh, there's one right in front
Steal
of my house, and
equipment.
we watched 4 vehicles blast through trying to make as many pieces as they can. It's pretty sad.
Anyone else? I'll make a comment. I just think the appreciation that I feel for those in agriculture that have been diligently working up around Lake Success, Cottonwood Creek. I don't know how many other places I see pieces of equipment out there. It'd be great if there's some way for the Board of Supervisors to recognize them without getting them in trouble.
So I was gonna talk to Trish about that, because I know I already got Chris Tantaw and Zach Stuhler, but I don't know Tom Barcelos, he had some names. So I was gonna reach out to Trish and find out, get all the names so we can do a certificate. And I don't know, if you don't have time, we come to our board meeting and do it, or maybe we go to the hall room and can do it.
How about my banquet?
Yeah, your banquet, we can do something like that, that'd be a good one, because they'd be there for that. So I just need to get all the names, and I knew I'd see her here today, and I haven't got that far. I was just gonna talk to her about it.
I appreciate you bringing it up. It's been on my mind too. And we are getting ready to announce our special awards for the banquet, but this is gonna be more of like a meritorious service to the community kind of thank you. And we need to not miss anybody. You know, I've got 3 or 4 names of guys that are texting me through the night, showing me dozer pictures and video. And, but there's probably 15 more I don't know about that are doing it too.
And that's the problem.
And this is not on the minutes. Right now.
It's being recorded, so.
I was gonna ask you about that. Are we still on public comments, but doing it with members now?
Public comment members, yes.
So.
The only thing, the only thing is once upon a time ago, the Times Delta ran an excellent article on all the horse facilities that gave riding lessons. Within a week, after certain agencies showed up asking for their permits, they were all closed.
Through the chair, could we just, because the supervisor's gonna be leaving, could we just basically jump temporarily to item 6B for other, and then this stuff can all go under that?
I'll consider that, but.
Jim, Trish and I will take care of it. We're working on the horse side with her banquet, and we just need to get the names. And I knew I'd see her here today, so we'll take care of it on that side.
Without getting them in trouble.
But I do have one comment before we jump. So everyone's worried about natural waterways. And so here's what's happening is we're in an emergency declaration, and Fish and Game has told me personally, and they've told Reed, I have Reed telling people that they don't care on the waterway. Now, they don't want us putting culverts, and we can't do that, but if it's breaching, it goes. And we all know an irrigation company owns the canal, and if it breaches, it's on them. If a natural waterway is going through your property and it breaches, it's on the property owner. Nobody owns it. That's part of your property and you own it. So I had irrigation companies call me going, hey, that's the kind of thing. No, unfortunately, it's on private property. We have to report any and all damage because we very seldom on these emergency declarations do we reach the threshold. Because you have to have a number of properties and you have to have a value. And if you don't, we usually get one or the other. So we don't get federal and state money. We have to have both. So there's that 802 number, and And, we gotta report every single thing. I was in her driveway today in Lindsay, talking to this lady, and she just in my house is ruined, and the water's coming through her house, and we're almost knee deep in water. So, and she didn't know who to report to, so I gave her the information. We've gotta get that word out, because that's the only way we're gonna get federal and state money. They will repair the roads, they will do that, but they will not fix your properties, individual properties, if we don't meet the threshold. We've got to report everything. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's good information.
All right, any other comments?
About anything in Pacific, or is it a wide open
It's
field?
not on the agenda.
Okay.
But under the purview
Will
of the
not require,
AAC.
will not require, you're not gonna ask for anything,
No.
any action.
No.
And it may be something for the agenda next time.
And that's what I was gonna ask to get this on next step. All I wanted to say today was, I wanna thank Tricia for her, I mean, she went to the bat. I talked to Ron when I served on the CAC, and when I saw that, I actually have it right here on my deal. So we're not gonna open this to discussion. I'm just making a report as a committee member on another committee on an item that could have future reference to our committee. That way we're legal under the Brown Act. So under the 2022 state SIP for ARB, they were slipping the language into the air district's ozone measure for the year. And what they had slipped into here, and the discussion item was DPR 13D. What the ARB chair was slipping into this thing for the governing board to approve was quantifying 13D emission reductions. And then the second part, which was really scary to me, and this was my red flag, more clearly states CARB's authority around pesticides. So I talked to Ron on that Sunday after that meeting, and he suggested getting hold of Tricia. I got hold of her. I don't know who all you called, Tricia, but you rallied the troops, because by the time that meeting came, the governing board meeting came, 6 county supervisors, members of or supervisor reps, actually came out and spoke against approving this for them with that provision in there, where it kind of opened the door in a very general way for ARB to start getting involved in pesticide regulations. So they went on the record, even Amy spoke out against it. So if you had a chance to you can go on the website, you can look up the minutes, you can read the whole thing yourself. But this isn't gonna go away, and it's not done yet. And the governing board has no authority over ARB. It's quite the other way around, and really. But this is an issue that I would like to see on the next agenda, so that I can actually bring in some copies of things and show you. It was very concerning because the wording I just read to you is what we got on the CAC as part of the presentation from ARB. It was redone by the Air District for the governing board, and it was schmoozed down to not sound like what I just read to you. So, but fortunately, because Tricia had mobilized the other farm bureaus and all these people have been contacted, like I say, when 6 members go on record saying, we don't like this, then the Air District has to take, the Air District and ARB has to take notice. But I would recommend we stay on top of this one.
Okay.
But thank you, Tricia, because she really went to bat for us.
Can I make a recommendation? This public comments, maybe council can give you input on this. You know how we do a TCAG? We have different categories. We do a water update. We do a carb update. Is that stuff that can be added on so we can speak about it freely and say, hey, there's no update or we got an issue? That way we don't have to worry about public comments. We can have everything, just a general water, carb, whatever we do, and then that way we can speak about it during the meeting.
Sure.
Feasible?
Yes, you can do that. I'll make a note of it too.
And that may solve us some issues down the road. Sorry.
No, that works because on the committee up there, we just put a whole bunch of general slots so we can leave the door open when stuff comes up like that.
Absolutely.
Tom, appreciate your input, but if we start looking at an agenda item on it, so it would help us. Okay.
Oh, before I finish, I'm sorry, 2 more things. At the last meeting I was at, the budget was, there was a big talk about the state budget, and just to let everybody know, the governor has, and you probably know this of course, the governor has basically allocated $0 for the farmer program. So as you know, everybody's trying to work on the governor and work on them they'd like to get at least 160 million if they can. The Air District has $300 million worth of new tractors and equipment where people have signed up for, and now it's going to be $0. If there's any good news on that, it's that AB 617, there's $0 for that too. So we do get a little good with the bad. But if you have any questions about that, we can certainly talk about those issues. Anything to do with ARB or the Air District, you could put that as a line item, and that leaves it wide open.
Okay. We'll have some discussion on that. All right, with that, and read our public comments also. Approve the January 18th, 2023 meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone had it. Yes.
Just a clarification, item 2 of last time, under January 18th minutes, under public comments, member Blatter, which needs an L, requested to agendize dead farm animals. That was Yost requesting some kind of follow-up.
It wasn't.
It wasn't me.
I don't
because we kind of chuckled about how many dead horses we're going to beat on this, because we've kind of done what we know to do. But I just wanted to clarify that I don't think I requested to agendize that topic, but Yost brought it up in a public comment that he needed to reopen some questions about composting and dead animal disposal and asked for some guidance, which we said we need. Jim said someone needs to find us some answers that aren't no.
Yeah, and it's difficult. It's difficult now because of the way we're doing our minutes. We don't have a written minute to go over. You have to go online.
It's neither here nor there. I just wanted to point out my name spelling and mention that I don't think we had a follow-up agenda item at this time.
Okay. But you would like to have that item changed.
Have that.
Just my name fixed.
Okay.
And I'm honestly.
Or do you just want the whole line struck?
I would think you could strike the line because I don't think I asked for it to be agendized.
That's correct, and the other members in here to clarify.
With that change, I would recommend we receive the minutes. I don't know if we need to approve, but I think my board received minutes.
You can approve the minutes with that change made.
Okay. Move approval with that change.
Second.
Any other points? Okay. Got a motion?
Second.
The move and second to approve the minutes as noted by Tricia.
And just for the recording, I just want to say, motion first by Blattler and second by Perigin.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, going back to our rather short agenda.
It's going to be shorter because we discussed this at the January meeting and kind of went all around the the topic, but really trying to understand what the challenge or the issue that Supervisor Townsend was wanting this group to discuss. And so with his absence today, I don't think we're really going to make any more progress than we did. We have the information that we had in January, but we really need to understand like what was the concern that he had. Yes.
I did send, I don't remember who all got it. I know I sent it to Michael Washam. I thought I sent it to Jim, but I reached out to one of the poultry UC A&R folks, and Carmshot did as well. We kind of crossed messages back and forth with Julie Finzel and poultry professor at Davis. But what I ended up finding through Tulare, through Farm Bureau, was in Northern California, so like Tehama. I sent somebody one of the Northern California counties rooster ordinances, which seemed like a really, really good template for maybe what we would want to copy if it meets Townsend's needs. So I did forward all that to Michael. I'm trying to remember who else I thought I sent it to.
Yeah,
We actually have rooster and chicken ordinances, and I know this from the sheriff's department. Literally depends on the zoning and depends on what side of the road you're on, especially in Pixie. There's like 4 different zones. this one can have no roosters, this one can have one, that one can have 3, but no hens, and it's crazy.
That should be across the road.
That's right, so it's.
To get out of the zone.
There's ordinances way back when, but they
I didn't know we drank at
so we probably need to research. I'll talk to Dennis. Dennis and I have not spoken about this. I'll follow up with Dennis.
And we did receive, Tom sent over some information too, and, you know, the ratios and that sort of thing, but without understanding the problem we're trying to solve, it, you know.
Yeah, but the Farm Bureau of that county, I wouldn't say it was Tehama, but they were satisfied with how that county ordinance read. And I also sent it to Bill Barcelos, who used to teach high school ag here. He's now in Minnesota, but he's pretty knowledgeable on poultry production and does backyard poultry, and provided some comments too, which I think I forwarded all to Michael. So we can bring that up, I guess, the next time we want to talk about this item.
We'll make sure we're not in the midst
Right,
of
so-
a natural disaster.
Yeah.
So we want to continue this agenda item.
Well, if Supervisor Townsend can make it to the next meeting, then we'll re-agendize it when he can attend. How about that?
So, I don't think I need a motion on that.
Sure,
Just go ahead and continue, we'll continue it. Rocky Hill. I wrote down Denise.
Yeah, so we invited one of our road use guys to join us today, Johnny Wong, but as you can imagine, he is otherwise busy.
Is he setting out closed signs or picking up closed signs?
I don't think we have any more close signs at all. Now we're just like, you can drive here and that's it. Just stay home, don't drive, leave our signs and our tractors alone. But in talking with Reed, between the no trespass into, you know, there's the trespass orchard, into the orchard, that's an issue. But as far as the no parking, what he was suggesting was temporary no parking, so how they would do for marathons or like road maintenance, where you set out on this day between this time and this time, this is a no parking zone. He thought that was probably the best to get at the issue of, the tractor being able to come out into the road and not being blocked off by vehicles, because I think that was the concern specifically there. But again, we can invite Johnny to discuss this further if we need to, but that was really
So how would that be coordinated? Would be up to
the landowner can contact us and say, on this date, and I think we set out signs like 24 hours in advance or something like that. I don't know, Johnny would know the rules of when we set those out, but you set out the signs and say, on this date between this time and this time, no parking in this area, and then they would get picked up.
So the fear of Fred Gill is, I spoke to Fred a long time ago, is that we're gonna push him on the backside of the hill, and it's gonna block his headquarters, he can't get his trucks in and out. And so Fred was working with Reed on that. Matter of fact, when I was at your place the other day, I asked Brian and him for an update, they hadn't heard, so I need to follow, that's something I've been pushing on, trying to do, but we've blockaded it and everything, and they just moved the barricades and blocked it, and we have to have enforcement of citing and towing vehicles.
That's the
Yeah,
piece.
enforcement is a big deal.
And that's gonna be tough to deal. I know that when we blocked the top of the hill, we were told to signal and go out there, and we scratched them left and right because we had shootings and stabbings and rapes and murder. It was crazy. And that was when they did the top of the hill. Well, you know what happened? I pushed them down. So now the fear is if you block all that off to 204, they're gonna come on the back side of the hill and they're gonna park over there and they're gonna block Fred. That was Fred's concern. And when I told Fred, I said, hey, you guys are out here and everyone needs to get together. So probably I need to call Fred and I'll call Reed, because I was going to start kind of all that out.
They're gonna have to swim across Hillcrest Creek to get up there.
Exactly.
I mean, when Zach Stoller brought the matter to Farm Bureau's attention last March, right around now, it was because of the beautiful spring weather. We were starting to just get droves and droves of public wanting to walk the hill. And he does already, as part of his restricted permit process, mark, notice, put up signage, and he would put out cones trying to block off places where he's going to turn spray rigs and park equipment. And the public just moves the cones and parks where they want. We got the sheriff's office involved and ended up, I do think there was one that happened, but it's pretty hard to get a deputy back out there just chronically for like every Saturday and Sunday morning for 5 or 6 hours when you've got 100 cars nosed into every row of orange trees and
Well, they got better things to do.
They've got better things to do, and
Well, their cars are getting broke into left and right, or broke glass everywhere, they still park there. And they're already starting, I already got a deal that I need to fix the entire stretch of Yoko Road because it's a little rough riding their bicycle.
Well,
would you get on that?
Water waves on it now.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we kind of have the same problem over here at Mooney's Grove.
And Porterville has a hill that's similar.
When the park is closed, people will park along 272. There's no parking signs there.
Right.
Permanent no parking signs. They still park there. They must have got citations though, because last week I noticed they were parking on the other side of Mooney. And so then they're playing like Frogurt across Mooney Boulevard to go extra exercise, I guess, extra heart rate. So, you know, I'll suggest what I suggested to the Forest Service, which is like the Jurassic Park electric fences. Like maybe we could do that, and that will keep people where they're supposed to be and not supposed to be. I don't know.
When the multi-use benefit, the multi-benefit use trail for pedestrians and bicycles kind of got squashed, there was another conversation about being allowed to let landowners actually request closing the entire Rocky Hill Drive Road for temporary needs, like if Gills need to move cattle across the road, or you know, Zach wants to request having the section up to, you know, the end of his orchards that he farms for Mark Lambert closed. But we never took that any farther as to like how realistic is it for a landowner to be able to get the county to temporarily close a road to through traffic.
I mean, we have a process to do that, and it's a matter of paperwork.
The other side wants the road closed so they can ride their bicycles and walk on it.
Well, I know, but
all the time.
That's why we have to share the road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I was almost sure.
And I know we talked a little bit about right to farm with this. Like, is there really a right to farm, you know, action that we could take that would heighten this matter or elevate this matter to change, you know, the conversation with
the right to farm ordinance is about farming not being a nuisance. So it's not really the right.
The public being a nuisance.
Right, exactly. Well, we only wish there was that kind of ordinance. There's not. So the right to farm is that farming is not a nuisance to the general public.
But I mean, the bottom line, we need to keep this on the agenda also.
Yeah, we'll make sure, we won't put it on the agenda unless well, I don't know, we did not predict today was gonna happen, trust me.
Supervisor McCarty, would you like to see it continue on the agenda?
Yes, because I have a note here, like, I'm gonna follow the read on it. I talked to him, it's been a while back,
Okay.
and then I also have on the post road stall with Dennis.
So we'll continue this also to the next meeting.
Okay.
Could we be the first county to create a right to don't be a nuisance for farmers?
What would you call it? Let's see. You have the right to be stupid, but not on my property.
Well,
the meeting is being recorded, FYI.
I talked to Tom, and Tom did some checking. We were trying to come up with an ordinance that it was a violation to impede the farming operations. I think that fell apart, right?
To some extent, council's still working on it. If it weren't for our emergency, we'd probably have summer.
So I initiated that when they were beating on his door protesting, wanting to know when you're spraying so they can go protest you and stop you from spraying because they're in your field. So we're trying to pass the ordinance, some kind of ordinance.
I'm gonna write down here.
Impeding an agricultural, legitimate agricultural business operation, or something broad enough to where it would cover cattle, it would cover, farming and that kind of stuff.
Like with the extra strong penalties for stealing. You can steal one orange off of an orange grove, and penalties are huge.
Well, it used to be that way, but not anymore. But we've been working on it for some time. Maybe, can you follow that?
Yeah. California Farm Bureau did adopt from our county language, adding some language around that under the DP because of the DPR notification threat. We do have Farm Bureau policy language I can introduce at the proper junction that speaks to how we want farmers to have some form of indemnification for those nuisances and impediments that are purposely trying to disrupt lawful farm activities. So maybe we can bring that up at a future discussion.
Okay, so we have at least the Ag Commissioner, County Council, Tulare County Farm Bureau, and Denise to help us carry forward on this item for the next meeting. Other business. Future agenda items. I heard discussion about trying to have like standing subject matter updates.
Yeah, I mean, so at TCAG, they'll have, you know, so we got water's an issue, farming, we've got harvest an issue, farming, whatever would be the main topics, and what they do is they give an update. Here's what's going on, you know, you got people at GSA meetings, you got Tricia, we can give updates on next agenda is for us to discuss topics on that. And then just give up and just put something as update. I think it's exactly what I was done at TCAG. And that allows us to have a conversation on it, and it's on our agenda. Now, we may not be able to vote on it. That'd be a council question because it's not an actual action item, but it's informational, and it gives us an idea. It allows us to speak freely about it, and we can bring it up and say, okay, you like that on the agenda, bring it next meeting. Is that, I got it right?
Yes.
I think that would free us up to getting it done.
So on my side, if we had a line item for Valley Air or ARB issues, like one of our standing items up there is AB 617 because that's their stuff coming on almost every month. We have new stuff, and everything out of AB 617 is more restrictive of personal rights. We're losing more and more personal rights constantly.
And my only thought is, I mean, I deal with it all the time, but I don't know if it's in the purview of AAC to address any of the air quality matters, unless the board hands it to us to speak to.
That's you know, in my short 30 years on this committee, I have had my mission statement through the bylaws redone multiple times. And every time the committee has, you know, when we get on a committee like this, we want to talk about everything that affects ag. But really when it gets down to us, our meat and potatoes is land use.
And county specific
and every time
policies.
we've got these broader perspectives on the committee, it seems like next time I come in and all of a sudden we get narrowed down.
Yeah.
So I appreciate what Tricia's saying. You know, so there's also, we have a water commission. You know, it's nice to have an update on it, but is it something that pertains to our mission within Ag Advisory? Yes, sir.
So as far as AB 617 goes, maybe not to be quite so specific, but anything on there could be literally prefaced by ag industry related issues stemming from AB 617. So for example, the way the law is written right now, if somebody calls and complains about a packing house and the air district comes out to the packing house, whether it's smell or whatever, any violation they see that falls under any other state agency, they will call and report that packing house to that state agency. That would go for a dairy, that would go for a cattle operation, whatever. So that definitely is an area where
I absolutely agree with you. Yeah. But Mr. Leindecker could also come to me and say the price of corn in Kansas is going to kill us.
Okay. So, and then that's on the air, and I don't care if we don't talk about the air.
We could spend a lot of time trying to decide, is this a land use issue or is it appropriate for our committee?
Now, what about the pesticide issue? Where ARB is wanting to get control of pesticides, but you want to stay on top of that one until it plays out?
Okay, I'm gonna have to get going. Here's my opinion. If I'm wrong, tell me. You guys are the experts, agricultural experts, okay? Justin, Ron, you guys are the experts. As a board member, I want to hear what we're looking at, what issues. I'm on certain, I've joined certain groups to listen to what they say, and there's state people on there listening, and they'll say, you know, last October we were having a party and some farmer came and sprayed us. Where's that at? And they're taking notes because they're going to go after that farmer. And these people sit there and listen to that. So I think that if there are issues involving the farming industry in our county, where maybe we can, as a board, because you're an ag advisory committee, that you can give, and I can write a letter, or I can turn around and get our board to John's letter, that, I wanna hear that. That's my opinion. Now, you may get another board member that says no, but as long as I'm on here, that's what I would like to see. Obviously, you guys need to decide it. So I think my recommendation is why don't we each think of an idea of what a topic is? He's gonna have dairy, you know, farming. Tricia's got a whole bunch of what she's getting on. Rick's got the carb stuff. So why don't we give it to, we can't have a serial meeting by sending it to everybody, but maybe sending it to you, Jim. So individual emails to you, you work with council, and then we'll talk about it, get an agenda on, and then we can speak about it then, what should be.
You know, if that's, you know, you're our representative to the board. If that's what the board would like to hear, you're the supervisor, we serve at your pleasure. We, you know, you're the one signing off on our bylaws. And so I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I would like to see that, and I think you're an Ag Advisory Committee, and I think we should be able to have that where we can have some open discussions about what we're looking at and what the issues are. Maybe we can solve some, maybe we can't, but we can sure advocate, but I need to know.
Okay, I'm fine with
Is
that.
that fair enough?
I'm fine with it.
Well, a lot of these things, Jim, eventually come down to land users. They may not, you know, that might not be the way they start, it might be an error issue, but it's gonna come down to eventually what you do with your land and what you do on your land.
And we may be able to actually provide the board something on the policy side instead of having to wait until it becomes an individual project. So, Derek, does that make sense to
Yeah,
you?
no, it does, and you know, and if something pops up that's a little farther from what would normally be the purview, but I think might still be an issue, then I'll either email or call you and ask you if you want to put it on the agenda or not. It sounds like when it comes to, I'm getting the feel though, that where this pesticide thing comes from, if there's relevant new information, I should call you and you could slip it onto you could get it onto the agenda so we could discuss it.
And we meet on,
The week prior to the meeting.
on the week prior to our scheduled meeting.
So I know Tricia's gonna be all over it just like I am, and we have.
I've tempered myself because I used to bring 27 ideas forward, and then Michael Spada would, well, pow, can't talk about that. Well, pow, can't talk about that. So I just started not bringing those ideas forward.
I think I'm one of them guys just go for it. So I'm gonna have to run, and maybe do an ad hoc and get an idea of what kind of topics, you know, just general topics we want to see. We can talk about next meeting. We can vote on it. But that's right. The topic is future agenda items, right? That's my idea.
You're not get
Future
together after you get
agenda.
out of it. When you get out of the flood, you and I'll get together.
Yeah, call me, and we're gonna go. Tricia, call me. I'm sorry I have to leave. I got a 4 o'clock. I got to drive across town to get to. So
We're almost done anyway, so
all right.
you're gonna miss like 5.
Take care.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor.
All right, so updates, thank you. So do we want to keep this dead livestock topic on our agenda?
Take it, Ron. I'd like to see it on the agenda.
See you later, Bob.
Bye.
The thing is, what are we going to do with it?
At this point, I say we need to, staff should put together an agenda item, take it to the board, because at this point, the only real option would be to the county to get into the dead livestock business. So we need a direction from the Board of Supervisors if that's the route we want to go. If not, then we've exhausted all the options.
Can we recommend, for an advisory?
Well, you can't talk about it right now because it's not agendized, but potentially at a future meeting, you could recommend that the board.
What the hoops are to jump through? I mean, what do we?
I think we just need to add it to the
agenda.
We have to go to the next meeting agenda.
If you have, we'll put it on the agenda. If you have specific questions about it, please get them to me, and I'll make sure that we get it in the agenda the way we want it, and get that expertise in there.
And through the chair, I will check if there's anything new on the ARB pesticide thing, then I'll let you know, and that way you can add it to the agenda if we need it.
Thank you.
we wrote out of our subcommittee a very thorough white paper summary of where the subcommittee ended and where we wanted the supervisors to kind of take that white paper information and go with it. So perhaps staff can direct staff to circulate that white paper again, or I can provide it to you to circulate again. That's where this ended and stopped. So maybe for Scott's edification, that would help recharge the brain cells. On
We'll keep that on the agenda. We'll keep that on the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other business that we want to add? Agenda items?
Mr. Chair, just a question on the dead animal thing. With the subcommittee, I think that's a fine direction and just stay with that. And I only bring it up is that there's a variance to that, and it's about when a state emergency is dictated and what the dairymen are doing and can they compost the animals and all that. There's pretty much a procedure for that, but then it goes a little further into, does it have to make its way then to the landfill, certified landfills, uncertified? Can it be land applied? Then that gets into CEQA questions. I'm taking it that that's not going to be part of this discussion, because I am working that angle, but that's about third down the list on council's list.
I think as we develop it, maybe we need to address both. The emergency situation, where are we on emergency, and then what do we do about non-emergency? The day-to-day livestock dumping. The day-to-day livestock losses. And I mean,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
The reason I bring it up is because it's in motion. It's like I say, it's about third or fourth down the list on my things with council. And so I'm not going to have anything ready for you by next.
That's fine.
Maybe move to like the July agenda or something.
You might.
Do we want the subcommittee to reconvene?
No, I think the subcommittee's done what it needs to do. I mean, if she wants to reconvene.
And I know we can't really talk much about it, the subject matter, but I'm going to shoot you guys something
Okay.
that I've been looking at,
Yeah.
and we need to get, but I know I can't talk that much about it. Ron?
I was just gonna say, you're probably with this water situation, you're going to have a lot more dead animals around, not particularly in the dairy, but there are gonna be a lot of dead animals floating around here.
They're probably in the creek already.
Some of them are in people's backyards, unfortunately, but there's gonna be more of it.
And Ron did have a dead horse that the county picked up, so Cassie does have a dead hauler that is contracting with the county right now. So that's a small help, but it's not gonna help some of the other bigger conversations we need to have.
It's the goats and sheep and stuff like that.
Okay, I think that would be a full agenda for our next meeting, that'd be our May meeting. Any other items that we've missed? Other comments? For the discussion, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We got a second. Got a first and a second over there.
Okay, so first for Blattler, and then second is Spear.
Here. Thank you. Now I guess,
Thank you.
tell me when that thing's on.